Until quite recently, the idea of a cheap device from Apple seemed impossible. The company had spent decades building the image of a premium brand, where every detail emphasized status. But in 2026, something happened that no one expected. Apple introduced the MacBook Neo. It became the cheapest MacBook in the company's history. Its starting price of around $599 literally shocked the market. At the same time, it was not some stripped-down or strange product. MacBook Neo received a full-fledged signature Apple design, an aluminum body, minimalism, and a recognizable style. But the most interesting part was inside. The device ran on the A18 Pro chip, which is used in the iPhone 16 Pro. This became the first signal that Apple is beginning to unify its ecosystems even more. The MacBook Neo featured a 13-inch display, solid battery life of up to 15 to 16 hours, a base of 8 GB of RAM, and fast SSD storage. Yes, it is not a device for professional editing or complex computations, but for 80% of users, it turned out to be ideal. Studying, work, internet, basic editing, everyday tasks, it handles all of this without problems. That is exactly why the MacBook Neo became a hit. Sales exceeded all expectations. In the first weeks, the device sold out extremely quickly, especially among students and those who previously could not afford Apple products. In fact, the company opened up a new market for itself. Millions of users who previously chose Windows laptops or Chromebook devices began switching to the Apple ecosystem. And this is where things get really interesting, because the success of the MacBook Neo is not just a successful launch, it is a signal that Apple is changing its strategy. And the next step could be even louder. According to insiders and analysts, the company is already preparing a new product, and this product could become the most unexpected in recent years. We are talking about the so-called iPhone Neo, the most affordable next-generation iPhone. If the MacBook Neo was an experiment, then the iPhone Neo could become a real revolution. Because smartphones are the main product of Apple, and competition here is at its peak. Xiaomi, Samsung, Realme, and other brands have long captured the budget segment, and Apple was practically absent in this category. But now, everything may change. Imagine an iPhone that costs not $1,000 and not even $800, but around $500 to $600. At the same time, it retains the signature Apple style, the smoothness of iOS, and access to the entire ecosystem. In terms of design, the iPhone Neo will most likely be as simple as possible, but stylish, flat edges, an aluminum body, possibly brighter colors. Apple may focus on a younger audience, as it once did with the iPhone 5C, but now at a completely different level of quality. The display will likely be OLED, but without promotion. The camera will be 1 or 2 modules, without complex sensors, but with strong optimization, because Apple knows how to extract maximum performance even from simpler hardware. The chip will most likely not be the newest, but still powerful. For example, a 17 chip, or a reduced version of A18 chip. This will allow the company to lower the price while maintaining high performance. And the most important thing is the user experience. Because the iPhone is not just about specifications, it is about the ecosystem. iMessage, AirDrop, FaceTime, synchronization with MacBook, Apple Watch, and iPad. This is what makes Apple devices so attractive. And now imagine the situation. A person who has never used Apple buys a MacBook Neo for $599, likes it, gets used to the system, and the next step is buying an iPhone Neo. This is how Apple captures the user completely. From a presentation standpoint, the company could make it as spectacular as possible. A dark stage, minimalism. Tim Cook walks out and says that Apple is making technology more accessible. The words iPhone Neo appear on the screen and the audience freezes. First they show the design, then the features, then comparisons with competitors, and finally the price. And the price becomes the key moment. Because if Apple truly shows a figure around $500, it will be a shock. And this is where the real battle begins. Because the iPhone Neo will compete not only with Android smartphones, it will compete with higher-end iPhones themselves. Xiaomi offers powerful hardware for relatively little money. Samsung offers balance and brand strength. But Apple can offer something more, a full ecosystem, stability, and long-term software support. And this is the key factor, because most budget Android smartphones stop receiving updates after 2 to 3 years, while an iPhone can be updated for 5 to 6 years. This means the iPhone Neo could become the most cost-effective device in the long term. And if Apple really follows this path, it could completely reshape the market, because the company would start taking users from all competitors at once. The MacBook Neo has already shown that the strategy works. Now it is the iPhone's turn. And the main question now is this: is the world ready for the cheapest iPhone in history? Because if the answer is yes, this could mark the beginning of a new era for Apple. But there is another point analysts are discussing, and it may turn out to be even more important than the price itself. The iPhone Neo may become not just a cheaper smartphone, but the smartest device Apple has ever made. The reason is that the company is actively focusing on artificial intelligence. And while in higher-end models it may be an addition, in the iPhone Neo it could become a core feature. Imagine a device that understands you almost instantly, automatically optimizes performance, and adapts the interface to your habits. Apple could integrate a lighter but highly efficient version of its AI directly into the system. This means that even a more affordable iPhone would feel like a device from the future. For example, the camera could automatically enhance photos in real time using neural networks. The assistant could anticipate your actions. And the system could run faster not because of hardware, but because of intelligence. And this could become the main advantage, because competitors often focus on numbers, more megapixels, more gigabytes, more cores, but Apple focuses on experience. And if the iPhone Neo can deliver that experience at a lower price, it will be a very strong hit to the market. In addition, there is another scenario that is being discussed more and more often. Apple could use the iPhone Neo as a tool to capture emerging markets such as India, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. These regions have a massive audience that wants an iPhone but cannot afford expensive models. And if Apple offers them an accessible option, it could lead to explosive sales growth. But at the same time, risks arise, because a too cheap iPhone could start competing with more expensive models within the company's own lineup. This is called cannibalization, and Apple will have to balance very carefully, making the device affordable enough while still leaving reasons to buy more expensive versions. That is why the iPhone Neo will most likely have limitations. It may lack pro features, the camera may be simpler, and the display may not include the most advanced technologies. But at the same time, it must remain a true iPhone. And if Apple manages to strike this balance, the result could be incredible. Because at that moment, the company will stop being only a premium brand and become a mass technological platform. And then every second person in the world could use Apple devices. The MacBook Neo has already taken the first step, and the iPhone Neo could solidify this success. And if all of this really happens, we will look back at this moment as the beginning of a new era, an era in which Apple stopped being expensive and became accessible.